Mega Man 3 is one of the first two games I remember being excited about whenever they were released. The first one being Super Mario Bros. I actually vaguely remember the commercial for Mega Man 3. There were some guys walking around in suits, and they drop a briefcase, and lo and behold, Mega Man 3. And a bunch of kids are all excited about it. It just says, Mega Man 3, out now. No, I know that so well because I actually watched it just maybe a day or so ago. Because I remember vaguely remembering it. Whatever. By the time Mega Man 3 was released, I'd already played a hell of a lot of Mega Man and Mega Man 2. And I hadn't beaten either yet. And as I mentioned in my Mega Man 2 video, my mom got me Mega Man 2 instead of Mega Man 3 for my birthday. I eventually got around to beating Mega Man 3 when I rented it or borrowed it from a friend. I can't remember which. And Mega Man 2 eventually became my favorite game. So I think that it was for the best. Not to say that Mega Man 3 isn't a great game, an amazing game. It is. I think it's probably in my top 10 favorite NES games, maybe. Let's start with the gameplay. This game introduces the slide. I love the slide. It's a great new gameplay mechanic that just feels fluid and fits in with boss battles and level design. It almost gives it an edge over Mega Man 2's gameplay. Almost. The slide really feels like it speeds up the game. Mega Man even feels like he just runs a bit faster. He obviously climbs faster. It almost feels like the gameplay is just a little more faster paced. The block puzzles in Mega Man 3 are a lot easier, and if you have Rush Jet, they don't even present a challenge anymore. Power-ups drop a lot more often in this than in the previous two games. You can also carry more energy tanks. How this game got a rep for being a hard game escapes me. There were reviews in older magazines that complained of the difficulty in Mega Man 3. Are Mega Man games really hard, or have I just really mastered NES Mega Man gameplay over the years? I'm not a complete expert by any means, but I just don't ever have that much of a problem with them. This stretch in Snake Man stage is tough. It always gave me hell as a kid. Has anyone else ever had problems with this glitch? I always hop before the cloud platforms come up out of the chutes just to make sure I don't die. Another tip is to hit these floating bullet cloud guys to make sure their trajectory is easier to dodge. Some of the enemies in this game are just a pain in the butt. The little rabbit hopper guys and these freaking bolts. I hate these bolts. They cause me to die more than anything else in this game. I tried using topspin against them this time. Hey, topspin isn't completely useless. The hedgehogs are irritating too. They deal so much damage and they're so hard to kill quickly. The boss battles in this game are a lot tougher than the ones in the last two games. Maybe I just don't have their patterns down as well, I don't know. The slide really helps. I'm not a fan of the menu in this game. I guess Mega Man 2 has the same problem. I don't like having to switch between two screens. Mega Man's 4, 5, and 6 do a much better job. What's with that little glitch below Top Man in the stage select screen? I am still not entirely clear on Proto Man's allegiance in Mega Man 3. Is he a good guy just trying to train Mega Man? Is he really with Wily? What's up with Breakman? I'm of the mind that Proto Man was with Wily during the events of this game, mostly by his dialogue at the end when he saves Mega Man. It seems like he's looking for Dr. Wily, but chooses to save Mega Man just because he can't find Wily. I have no idea. It isn't really clear that Proto Man is a good guy until Mega Man 4 when he saves Kalinka. The graphics in this game are a big leap from Mega Man 2. The backgrounds are just so much more detailed, and the enemies are a big upgrade as well. It's just so interesting to me that the graphics in the NES Mega Man games get better and better with each release, and Mega Man himself just kind of stays the same. I'm not complaining, it works. I'm not ranking the weapons this time, but I'll give my thoughts on each. Magnet Missile is useful in a lot of different areas. My favorite example is in Shadow Man stage, where these parachute guys fall from the ceiling. It clears the snake heads out of Snake Man stage pretty well too. Hard Knuckle hits hard, like against these giant snake barriers. It also blows up walls to give you access to goodies. As I said before, top spin surprised me in this playthrough. I found that they work well for enemies that are directly above you or really close. Well, unless you forgot to use the Shadow Blade instead. Spark Shot is a good weakness weapon, but I didn't really find use for it otherwise. Search Snake kills enemies that may be out of reach and below you. I was really hurting here, and I wanted the E-Tank. I used the Search Snake and took out that hedgehog. I guess the Gemini laser kinda sucks. It's too unpredictable unless you're a geometry genius. If you miss, you just have to wait for it to leave the screen or bounce back and hit an enemy. Maybe I just don't know how to use it properly. The Needle Cannon's kind of in the same realm as the Spark Shot, because it just shoots straight forward. It's a little more rapid fire. I guess it'd be great if I had attempted to use it more, but I didn't. The Shadow Blade is like a gimped metal blade. It can still be pretty useful, especially to take out enemies directly above you. The addition of Rush was neat. He's really just a more memorable take on the items from Mega Man 2. You almost can't think of Mega Man without Rush after this game was released. I really like that the addition of Rush was integrated into the gameplay and level design, especially in the Doc Robot levels and the Dr. Wily levels. The music in this game is fantastic. I'm a big fan of just about every track. They really set an atmosphere for each stage. Magnet Man's stage theme is upbeat, and it fits. Top Man's theme has this really cool driving rhythm to it that just works with the fast pace of a spinning top. Spark Man's theme is just freaking amazing, as a lot of people have pointed out in the past. The Wily stages have some really good tunes as well. The music in this game is definitely some of the best in the entire series. I've always been impressed by what Capcom can do with this old Nintendo hardware. The Doc Robot stages are a bit of a hassle. They were obviously an attempt to make the game longer, and I'm grateful for that. I really like the fact that I can choose which order to play them in. I think it would have been really neat if later Mega Man games gave you that same kind of option in the levels before the Wily Castle. I also really like the idea of a mid-boss. It's not really a mini-boss, it's an actual boss in the middle of the stage. The stages do have the same backgrounds and music as some of the original Robot Master stages, which is kind of a detractor. And there's some real familiar sections, but I think they're varied enough to give you a new experience. I like how they force you to use some of the Rush power-ups that you gathered from the first 8 levels. When I first fought Doc Robot when I was a kid, I was so excited to see that he was using the attacks from the Mega Man 2 bosses. I wasn't as excited that his patterns were just different enough to make these completely different fights. They just don't seem to be timed the same way as they were in the last game. His weakness weapons are obviously not the same, and this makes the fights a lot more challenging to Mega Man 2. I mean, you have to scroll through and find a weapon that's going to work the best against the guy you're fighting. The The Wily stages are strangely easy compared to the rest of the game. The boss battles are a little underwhelming as well, and the stages throw power-ups at you. Even the feared Yellow Devil is kind of easy, especially with a slide and E-tanks. It's kind of interesting that these two bosses are just rehashes of boss fights from the first game. I guess Doc Robot threw back to Mega Man 2, and the Wily Castle bosses throw back to Mega Man 1. The first Wily fight is kind of disappointing. It's not very tough at all. Even in the second fight, when Wily is controlling Gamma, it's still just kind of dumb. The only thing that makes it tough is the range of his weakness weapon. You have to jump at an odd angle to get Search Snake off, and I think Top Spin is his other weakness, and I'm not going to use that. Mega Man 3 is a great game. It's one of my favorites on the NES. The only Mega Man game that I like better is Mega Man 2, obviously. I've stated it enough times, I'm sure. If you haven't played it, I highly recommend you play it. I just really hope that one of these days I'm going to review something that's not Mega Man, Zelda, or Mario, or Castlevania, or some other game series that's been done to death. I don't know, maybe I'll do Mickey Mouse Capade. Later.